Hey guys, what's going on? It's Birdie, Boogie, and we are here with something a little bit different. So usually we're going over wrestling news on this channel. Every video, every day, I show you what you might have missed today in the world of professional wrestling. But today we are doing something just a tad different. With Worlds Collide being just 48 hours away, I figured the best thing we could do is do some predictions. I'll let you know what I think. I'll let you know who I think is going to win, why, storylines that might come out of this, etc. I feel like this would be the best day to do it because I'm thinking tomorrow will be Royal Rumble predictions. That video will probably be coming out a little bit later because obviously I have to do it after SmackDown so we know the extent of every storyline, matches as far as we know, because we all know WWE loves tweeting out matches that Saturday and Sunday. So that way, though, we know all the storylines. We know everything that's going to be involved. But as of now, we know what Worlds Collide is going to be. NXT UK just aired, so we know who's going to be in the Cruiserweight match, etc. And then this weekend, I'll actually be at the Royal Rumble and Worlds Collide. I'm hoping to put videos up that night of both me at Worlds Collide and me at the Royal Rumble. We might have some separate videos for some reactions, some big surprises, hopefully. But yeah, so I figured today would be the best day to do something like a Worlds Collide prediction video. Now, I want to do a quick disclaimer. I do not actively watch NXT UK. I watch NXT every week. I could just never get into NXT UK. This is about to be a real hot take. You might not like it, but I think Walter is really boring. I just can't get into him as a wrestler. And I don't know. There's something about not watching wrestling live that I can't do it. It's funny. So NXT is my favorite wrestling show. I think it is the best wrestling show on TV right now. But I really only started watching it seriously when it went live. I don't know, going and watching something on the network, I can't do it. I don't know. I just can't. So this is going to be coming from someone that really only watches NXT. As much as I know about NXT UK, I follow them on Twitter. I get their updates, but I don't think I've ever actually watched a complete episode of NXT UK. I honestly don't think I've ever watched a complete NXT UK takeover as well. So just want to have that disclaimer before we begin. So as of the card right now, we know that there's going to be 6 matches. It is possible we might get another match added. I don't think so. I think 6 is usually about that takeover amount. So I think this is probably what we got. So I figure we'll start with the pre-show and then I'm just going to kind of, we'll just go in order. So I'm looking at the match card right now on Wikipedia. So I'm going to start the pre-show and then I'm just going to go in the order it's in. So I'm not saying this is the order the matches will be in. I'm pretty sure the main event, we already know the main event. It's going to be Imperium versus Undisputed Era. But you know what? We're wasting time. Get right into it. So your pre-show matchup is going to be Mia Yim versus Kaylee Ray. So you have Mia Yim, who's definitely been looking strong lately on NXT. A lot of people might point that, she hasn't technically won a feud or, had a big takeover match. But she's been tweeting a lot and you can definitely tell her character's intentions. So someone brought up I think there's a few with Dakota Kai because we all know Dakota Kai and Mia Yim had issues, and Mia Yim was like, at the end of the day, I made her bleed. That's what I was looking for. So it's like, okay, that makes sense. So yeah, Mia Yim is definitely someone I see them pushing in the future. But the problem is for Mia Yim at Worlds Collide, she is going against the NXT UK Women's Champion and Kaylee Ray. And I don't see them having Kaylee Ray lose. I think obviously being an NXT fan, I could have done the easy way and just said NXT will win out. But I definitely think there are some matchups where NXT UK will definitely pull it off. And I think this one is this is one of them right here. I think you need to continue to build Kaylee Ray, make her look strong, especially since, from what I saw on Twitter, from what I saw on different social media, no one really saw Kaylee Ray winning that NXT UK Women's Championship match at NXT UK TakeOver. So, the fact that she beat Piper Niven and Toni Storm, I think they need to continue building her up, and having her lose a throwaway match against Mia Yim is definitely not the way to do that. And then, I definitely think it sets up the possibility, maybe at some point we might get, Rhea Ripley versus Kaylee Ray. I think that'd be a great matchup. The problem is, when do you do it? You really would want to do it here. And I think that's why so many people were expecting Toni Storm to win the NXT UK Women's Championship is, because we obviously had this, marquee matchup, Rhea Ripley versus Toni Storm. But yeah, I don't know. I don't know when you would do it. I think it definitely needs to happen at some point. I mean, I say it every video. NXT has the most stacked women's division. WWE as a whole has the most stacked women's division as a company. So yeah, I feel like you definitely need to do that marquee matchup. But the big question is when, because you don't want to do it at a takeover. Because originally I was thinking, well, you could have it at NXT TakeOver during WrestleMania weekend, but then you'd really want a good storyline for that. Like, I don't know, unless you had, winner take all, maybe. I don't know. There's definitely some possibilities there. I'm just not sure when exactly would be the best time to jump in on that. So yeah, I got Mia Yim versus Kaylee Ray. Next, we have DIY versus Mustache Mountain. Now, this, I think, by far, is once again one of those great matchups that is going to get people to watch. Because DIY back for old time's sake, as they're saying, versus Mustache Mountain. Of course, everyone loves Trent Seven and Tyler Bate, and this honestly is one that I really had a lot of trouble deciding, because I can easily see Mustache Mountain winning, but at the end of the day, I think DIY needs it. You know what I mean? I think if they're getting back together for old time's sake and they lose, that would be interesting. You could easily start a feud there between Gargano and Ciampa if that happened, if you want to reignite that a little bit, get some tensions brewing. But both Ciampa and Gargano have their own storylines that they're dealing with right now. Obviously, you have Gargano and Bálor happening soon. But then, you have Ciampa and Adam Cole. So yeah, I don't know. I think DIY will win, but I think it will be a great match. And this is my bold prediction, but I'm not sure how bold it really is. But I honestly see this being the match of the night. This will be the match to watch: DIY versus Mustache Mountain. It'll be interesting to see who the crowd's behind. I think it might be honestly all these guys type of chance, because who are you supposed to boo in this match? But yeah, I think DIY will get the win, and I think they'll put on a clinic. Now, this was the toughest match for me to really think about who's going to win. So it's the Fatal 4-Way for the NXT Cruiserweight Championship. And we have Angel Garza versus Isiah Swerve Scott versus Jordan Devlin versus Travis Banks. So like I said, I don't watch a lot of NXT UK, so I don't really know much about Jordan Devlin and Travis Banks. So let's, I don't want to push them to the side because, they easily have a chance of winning. But, then we have Garza and Swerve Scott. Here's what I think, personally. So obviously the Cruiserweight Championship has not been the most prestigious title, unfortunately. That is no fault to the workers involved with it. I think Neville had a great run with it. But other than that, it's hard to say, because then you look at the names that have held it. You have Austin Aries. You have, I think Gulak held it at one point. You have Neville. You have had good champions. It's just, we've seen the way WWE has booked the cruiserweights. It just has not had that prestige. And the problem is how much is it going to hurt the prestige of that title if it just goes to the UK? We don't know ratings for NXT UK, but it can't be better than, NXT, where it's currently being featured. Is it better than 205 Live? I would hope so. I don't know. So personally, I think Garza will retain. I don't know. I think it'll be a great match. And that's the problem. And I honestly feel bad anytime I watch 205 Live, if I'm ever at a SmackDown, or when it's after SmackDown. I don't even know if it still is anymore. Is that they put on great matches. I don't know. I could just never get into it. They could never really go full force with the storylines, it feels. You definitely had some good storylines. You had B. Brian Kendrick with Tozawa. They had a very long storyline. That is, WWE said, people say, WWE doesn't do any long-term booking, but Brian Kendrick versus Akira Tozawa, that went on for years. And then, we had the time when Alicia Fox was the mid-card belt that was being passed around. The cruiserweights deserve better. But yeah, I don't know. I see Angel Garza retaining. I think having it on NXT is a good step, but I still don't think we're all the way there, because let's face it, compared to most of the storylines right now in NXT, the cruiserweights still kind of feel a little bit like an afterthought. I really did enjoy Lio Rush as champion, though. I will say that. I think Lio Rush did a great job holding the title, and I really enjoyed him as champion. So I have Angel Garza retaining for that one. This match, I really wasn't sure what to think until last night. It was Finn Bálor versus Ilja Dragunov. Dragunov kind of had a vignette last night on NXT, and then Finn Bálor wrestled DJZ. I forget his new NXT name. Basically, it was a message being sent to Dragunov, and it's once again, here's the problem. Finn Balor's being booked so strong right now. We are having a great feud starting to brew between Finn Balor and Gargano, and almost just like the cruiserweight match, I don't want to see Finn Balor's momentum kind of get cut short, because he has been booked like a complete badass since returning to NXT. Dragunov, I'm definitely interested in him now after seeing that vignette. It would be nice if he could get that push, but I just don't see it happening. I don't think it's possible. There's no way Finn Balor can lose. I don't see it happening. Finn Balor can't lose. Honestly, I think he needs to go through Gargano too. I think Finn Balor versus the NXT champion, whether that's Tommaso Ciampa or Adam Cole, is a big money match. I'd almost like to see Finn Balor versus Ciampa, because then you have Gargano kind of, lurking in the shadows. I don't know. Finn Balor can't lose for a while, so I feel like he just needs to go right through Dragunov, unfortunately. But yeah, once again, I think this is going to be a great match. I think this is probably going to be one of the stiffest matches, which, is just going to make it that much better to watch. So here's another interesting match, Rhea Ripley versus Toni Storm. And what's interesting about it is Toni Storm has always been extremely over. But she got booed last night on NXT. She attacked Rhea Ripley and she just got booed. And I honestly, I don't even think the WWE was expecting that. So yeah, I think Rhea, this is for the NXT Women's Championship, renamed today to the NXT Championship. And I don't know. Rhea is so hot that can you really take the title off of her? But, at the same time, when's the last time we've had a short NXT Women's Championship reign? You know what I mean? Like, it's been a long time. I guess you could consider Ember's short, but that's just because Asuka and Shayna just had such long reigns. It'd be interesting to see Toni Storm, and I think this is the one that really could go either way, because then you really have that wow factor if Toni Storm does win, especially she's been making her appearances on NXT and Full Sail more and more. But then, that leads into Bianca Belair versus Toni Storm at NXT TakeOver Portland, which would be different. I don't know. I think Rhea Ripley has to win. And unfortunately, I don't know. I think that's the problem with having Worlds Collide almost be a takeover event instead of what it was last year, which was, a cool tournament at, their Royal Rumble Access, is that you just have so many NXT people booked so strong. And it's just like, we know at the end of the day, they're not going to have them get momentum cut short by someone on NXT UK. Unfortunately, I'm not saying that's a knock on the workers. I'm saying it's a knock on the booking, and I'm saying it's a knock on the exposure of NXT UK. But that being said, then we get into the main event. We have Imperium versus the Undisputed Era in an 8-man tag match. And I had this thought last night watching NXT, and I'm sorry I'm about to spoil last night's NXT, so if you don't want to hear it, you probably should click off the video now. But Roderick Strong lost his North American title to Keith Lee last night. Undisputed Era lost in the Dusty Classic because of a distraction from Imperium, when there wasn't even a distraction. They were just chilling. And then, the show ends with Adam Cole getting the daylights chopped out of him by Walter. This is interesting, because I think what we're starting to witness is the fall and the crack of the Undisputed Era, which is huge. They have held the titles for a very long time. There was a quote that WWE Stats actually tweeted about how them holding the titles was the longest a 4-man stable has held them ever. I don't remember the exact tweet. I'm going to put it up on the video so you can see what I'm talking about. But yeah, I think we're starting to see the crack of the Undisputed Era. Now, that brings up a bigger question, because what does that mean? Does that mean Adam Cole is getting pushed up? Does that mean Roddy Strong is getting pushed up? Because personally, I love Kyle O'Reilly. I love Bobby Fish. Until you split Kyle O'Reilly and Bobby Fish, neither of them are moving up to the main roster. I don't see Bobby Fish wanting to do the travel that would be required of the main roster. But Adam Cole could. Roderick Strong could. I was talking to somebody on Twitter last night that said maybe just Adam Cole. Personally, I want to see them all in NXT for the time being. I know Adam Cole on the main roster would be amazing, but right now you have such a great storyline with the Undisputed Era probably starting to crack that you have to keep them in NXT. My dream booking was always that you almost started, you know, an NWO, an NWO Wolfpack situation, or you had Adam Cole versus Roderick Strong. You know, I think you could almost start brewing that now with Roderick Strong losing the North American title. I mean, you know, you can have Adam Cole starting to push him a little bit. You know, what's going on here? Is Roderick Strong starting to be the weak link? You could have Roderick Strong be the one getting pinned by Imperium. And then it's like, you know, it's something wrong with Roderick Strong. Adam Cole starts pushing him a little bit, pushing him a little bit, pushing a little bit. And so Roderick Strong just can't take it anymore. And he attacks Adam Cole. He cost Adam Cole the NXT championship. There are so many different ways you can do that. And I think that would really escalate Roderick Strong into being a main, you know, contender. I mean, you know, he puts on great matches. Let's put him up to the level of put him up to the level of Adam Cole. Let's make it not a crazy thought that Roderick Strong someday could win the NXT championship. This is a long-winded version way of saying is I think Imperium will definitely be an Undisputed Era. I'm starting to think the dominance of Undisputed Era is going to start to waver a little bit. You know, we've seen how much Imperium is getting in their heads. The fact that we are seeing, you know, 2 high-profile matches lost by Undisputed Era last night says a lot. I do think Adam Cole will keep the title for a bit longer. I think, you know, we already seen the North American title slip. I think you'll see the tag team title slips too soon. You know, I think the wild card for the NXT tag team championships. How interesting would it be if the Broserweights beat Kyle O'Reilly and Bobby Fish? Oh, get a title on Riddle, get a title on Dunn. That would be interesting. And then, you know, you're left with Adam Cole just being the champion on his own. There's a lot of different ways you can take it, but honestly, you know, this is the long-winded version way of saying I think Undisputed Era is starting to crack, which is going to be amazing storytelling. And it's going to be interesting to see how serious they are with this. And I think we'll truly get to see it this weekend if Imperium defeats the Undisputed Era. You know, a lot of people wanted, you know, Undisputed Era being in the main roster, feuding with the club, but I don't think they're going to make it out of NXT. But I think out of all the brands, I trust NXT to tell the story the most. So yeah, Imperium defeats Undisputed Era. So we're going to do a quick rundown of my picks. Let me know who you think is going to win. Let me know what matchup you're looking forward to. But I have Mia Yim over Kaylee Ray. Excuse me. Wow, I'm changing picks on you. Excuse me. I have Kaylee Ray over Mia Yim. I have DIY over Mustache Mountain. I have Angel Garza retaining. I have Finn Bálor over Dragunov. I have Rhea Ripley over Toni Storm. And I have Imperium defeating the Undisputed Era. Match I'm most looking forward to. DIY versus Mustache Mountain. Yeah, I don't know. It's going to be an interesting show. I'm excited to be there. It's going to be an interesting show. And then the question is, you know, are we going to have someone sitting in the front row? The new high-key signing sitting in the front row. That'll be something else to look forward to. But yeah, let me know what you think. Obviously, it's a little bit longer than, you know, some of my previous news videos, but I wanted to give you guys my mindset and see if you guys agree with me, see if I'm crazy. You know, I don't want Undisputed Era to end. They're one of the coolest groups in the WWE, but that storytelling is going to be so good. So let me know what you think. Tomorrow night, we'll have our Royal Rumble predictions after SmackDown. My name is Birdie Boogie. If you enjoyed the video, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. Let me know what you think. And I hope to hear from you soon. Have a good night.